You've encountered her before, even if you didn't have the language to name what you were experiencing. The woman who seems present until you move closer, who responds with intensity until you express need, who mirrors your interest until you indicate genuine investment, at which point something shifts, some invisible barrier activates, and suddenly you're pursuing someone who was just moments ago pursuing you. She's not playing games in the manipulative sense. She's operating from a psychological architecture built to protect her from the very intimacy she claims to want, and understanding that architecture isn't about controlling her or fixing her or making her attach through strategic manipulation. It's about recognizing whether you're willing to participate in a dynamic that will require more patience, more self-possession, and more emotional clarity than most relationships demand. The avoidant woman isn't dangerous because she's malicious or deliberately harmful. She's dangerous because she activates the part of you that believes love requires pursuit, that value is proven through difficulty, that if you can just decode her correctly or perform the right sequence of behaviors, she'll finally let you in and the relationship will stabilize into the connection you've been chasing. She's dangerous because she creates a laboratory for your own abandonment wounds, your own anxious patterns, your own tendency to confuse intensity with intimacy and challenge with compatibility. The question isn't how to make her attach. The question is why you're drawn to someone whose fundamental relational strategy is maintaining distance, and whether pursuing attachment with someone organized around avoiding it serves your actual needs or just provides familiar terrain for old patterns to play out. Attachment theory offers a framework here, though it's been oversimplified into relationship strategy when it's actually describing early developmental adaptations that shape how people regulate closeness and distance throughout life. The avoidant attachment style emerges from environments where emotional needs were consistently unmet, or where expressing need led to rejection, criticism, or withdrawal of care. The child learns that survival requires self-sufficiency, that depending on others is dangerous, that vulnerability leads to pain. That child becomes an adult who's organized her entire emotional life around the principle that needing nothing is safer than needing anything, that keeping people at arm's length prevents the abandonment she's certain will come if she lets anyone close enough to matter. She didn't choose this pattern consciously, and she's not maintaining it to torture you. She's following a blueprint etched in her nervous system long before you appeared, a blueprint that says intimacy equals threat, that closeness triggers panic disguised as loss of interest, that the moment someone becomes important is the moment she needs to create space, because importance means vulnerability, and vulnerability means inevitable pain. When you express need or desire for more commitment or deeper connection, you're not being unreasonable. You're triggering her core wound, activating the defense system built to protect her from exactly what you're offering. The men who succeed with avoidant women, and success here doesn't mean making them attach permanently, but rather building something functional within the constraints of their relational capacity, aren't the ones who pursue harder or demonstrate value more convincingly, or employ strategic distance to trigger her anxiety. They're the men who possess such clear internal stability that her withdrawal doesn't destabilize them, who can remain present without demanding she be different than she is, who understand that her need for space isn't rejection, but regulation, who don't take her patterns personally because they recognize those patterns existed long before and will likely persist long after, regardless of what they do. Jung understood that we're attracted to what we need to integrate, that the people who frustrate us most deeply often carry the exact qualities we've disowned in ourselves. If you're anxiously attached, organized around fear of abandonment, requiring constant reassurance, experiencing others' autonomy as threat, the avoidant woman will feel like magnetic north, like the person whose approval would finally prove you're worthy of staying for. But that dynamic isn't love. It's mutual wounding. Each person's pattern perfectly designed to activate the other's core fear, creating intensity that feels like passion, but is actually just nervous system dysregulation, the adrenaline of perpetual uncertainty mistaken for chemistry. Making her attach isn't possible through strategy, because attachment isn't something you can install in another person through correct behavior. Attachment is something that emerges when someone's nervous system learns through repeated experience that closeness is safe, that vulnerability won't be punished, that expressing need doesn't lead to abandonment. And that learning doesn't happen quickly, doesn't happen through peak experiences or grand gestures, and absolutely doesn't happen if you're performing stability while internally panicking every time she withdraws, if you're strategically giving space while actually just managing your anxiety about losing her, if you're tolerating her patterns because you believe enduring enough will eventually change her. The brutal truth is that most avoidant women don't change their relational capacity without significant therapeutic work, without confronting the original wounds that created the pattern, without doing the slow, uncomfortable process of learning to tolerate the vulnerability they've spent decades defending against. Your presence alone won't heal her. Your patience won't fix her. Your consistency won't override decades of neural pathways built to keep people at safe distance. You can't love someone out of their attachment style, can't demonstrate enough value to make intimacy feel safe to someone whose system is wired to experience intimacy as threat. What you can do is recognize your own part in the dynamic, why you're drawn to someone emotionally unavailable, what wound in you gets activated by her withdrawal, what you're trying to prove by winning someone who's organized around not being won. The man who's genuinely secure doesn't find avoidant women compelling. He finds them exhausting, recognizes the limitation, and moves toward people whose relational capacity matches his own, rather than toward people who recreate the conditions of his earliest injuries. If you're already involved with an avoidant woman and genuinely want to build something functional, the path isn't manipulation or strategy. It's radical self-possession combined with acceptance of her actual capacity. This means being clear about your own needs and boundaries without demanding she meet them. Being willing to walk away if the relationship can't provide what's necessary for your well-being, maintaining your own life and interests and connections so thoroughly that her withdrawal creates inconvenience rather than crisis. Never pursuing when she pulls back, but also never pretending her pulling back doesn't affect you. It means understanding that she needs space the way you need air, that her withdrawal isn't about you, but about her attempt to regulate overwhelm, that giving her room to breathe doesn't mean you're being strategic, but rather that you respect her autonomy, even when it's inconvenient for you. It means not interpreting her need for distance as lack of care, not making her responsible for managing your anxiety about the relationship, not requiring constant reassurance that only intensifies her claustrophobia and drives her further into defensive independence. Fromm wrote about mature love as the union of two independent beings who choose connection without needing it for survival, who enhance each other's lives without depending on each other for basic emotional regulation. With an avoidant woman, that principle isn't optional strategy. It's the only foundation that has any chance of working. She can't attach to someone who needs her to attach, because that need itself becomes pressure, becomes the thing she has to escape, becomes proof that getting close was dangerous because now someone's depending on her, and dependence feels like suffocation. The relationship, if it develops, will likely always have more distance than you'd prefer, more autonomy than feels natural to you, more space than seems necessary for people who claim to love each other. She'll need time alone that has nothing to do with you. She'll resist merging lives in ways that anxious attachment finds threatening. She'll maintain separateness that feels like rejection, but is actually how she preserves her sense of self within relationship. You don't get to negotiate this away, or gradually convince her it's safe to need you more. You either accept it as the price of admission, or you recognize the cost is too high and find someone whose natural relational set point matches yours. The dangerous part isn't her avoidance itself. It's your potential to lose yourself trying to break through it, to compress your needs to fit her comfort zone, to perform independence while actually just managing the anxiety of being with someone who can't consistently show up emotionally, to mistake endurance for compatibility and staying for success. The dangerous part is organizing your entire relational strategy around not triggering her defenses, when what you actually need is someone whose defenses don't require such careful navigation, whose capacity for intimacy meets you rather than requiring you to shrink. She won't change because you're patient enough or valuable enough or strategic enough. She'll change if and when she decides the cost of her defenses exceeds the cost of vulnerability, when she recognizes her pattern is limiting her life more than protecting it, when she does her own internal work, not to win you, but to become someone capable of the intimacy she's spent her life avoiding. That work is hers alone. You can't do it for her, and your presence won't inspire it unless she's already committed to it independently. What you can control is your own clarity about whether you're choosing her because she's genuinely compatible with who you are and what you need, or whether you're choosing her because she activates familiar pain, because pursuing someone unavailable feels more real than being chosen by someone present, because proving you're worthy of her attachment would resolve something from your past that has nothing to do with her. Most men who find avoidant women compelling are operating from the second position, using the relationship as a stage for old dramas, seeking resolution in the present for wounds created in the past. The mind of the avoidant woman isn't dangerous. Your tendency to abandon yourself in pursuit of her is. Her patterns belong to her, shaped by her history, maintained by her nervous system, changeable only through her own committed work. Your patterns belong to you, and the question worth asking isn't how to make her attach, but why you need someone who can't, what you're trying to heal through her that can only be healed through your own integration, what clarity you're avoiding by focusing all your energy on decoding her. You don't need to make her attach. You need to understand why you're drawn to someone whose fundamental orientation is distance, whether that draw serves your evolution or just provides elaborate distraction from your own work, and whether you're willing to accept her as she actually is, rather than as you need her to become. Everything else is strategy built on the fantasy that love requires struggle, that difficulty proves value, that if you just perform correctly enough, you can override someone's core wounding and make them capable of something they're not yet equipped to offer. The dangerous mind isn't hers. It's the one that believes pursuit equals love, that challenge equals compatibility, that making someone attach proves something about your worth. Her mind is just protecting itself the only way it knows how. Yours needs to decide whether participating in that protection serves you or just keeps you locked in familiar patterns that feel like passion but function as prison.